Hello everyone, very good morning. Welcome to An Academy Articulate, and here is the session where we'll be giving you the daily news updates that is there in many newspapers too, and that is especially important for the examination perspective. So coming back to the session for the day of 9th of July 2021, we have amazing topics. In fact, yesterday and day before, we don't have much things to be discussed in the newspapers that have been there, but today, we have a lot of topics to be covered, and here is the index or the content that we are going to have today, right? So starting now, if you could look into this particular case, the first one which you are seeing here, the Ministry of Cooperation is going to be our focus topic today. So we'll have a great discussion on that particular topic. Okay, so this discussion would be made once we give the highlights of all these news articles too. Okay, so this is going to be our focus topic for us. So we'll discuss a bit more about this particular thing. So about what is the Ministry of Cooperation, what is its importance, why is it important for the development of the grassroots level of the country, be it in the local bodies, be it urban local bodies, whatever the method is. So we'll try to look into the importance and relevance of it. Why did government come across with the Ministry of Cooperation? We'll be looking into such kind of things in next 5 minutes. Okay, so first I'll just give you the highlights of these news articles, and then we'll go and discuss that in detail. So that is what we'll be doing today, right? So coming to this, we all knew that the Cairn Energy is a company which has filed a petition against India in the arbitrary tribunal, and the verdict has been in favor of them. Now, as a verdict has been in favor of those particular Cairn Energy company, so what happened is this: they have started filing the cases in many other courts in various parts of the country, various parts of the world, where the purpose is to attach the properties of India. So the purpose is to attach the properties of India, and accordingly many cases have been filed in the New York, in France and all. So right now the Cairn Energy company says that it has actually got the approval from the court in France, where they can attach 20 Indian assets in the Paris. Meanwhile, the government of India stated we haven't received any kind of such notice from any court from France, number one. And number two, the government also stated is there is no need to attach the properties, as we have already filed what is it called, the appeal against the verdict of the tribunal. So we just don't want to make it in a hurried way. But right now the Cairn Energy company keeps on saying that the ball is in the court of India to decide what they wanted to do. Okay, so that is one news that you have to look towards to. Now the next three news articles are related to what is it called, the social media. Now we have seen in the recent past the IT rules and all which have been brought up, that has brought a tremendous changes with respect to IT rules, making them more accountable to the people. Now there was a case that was there some time ago. There were riots happened in Delhi. I hope you all must have heard about it. There was certain kind of riots happened in Delhi. As because of that particular riots, now there was a Delhi government panel was created with respect to that, and this particular inquiry committee has actually issued summons to the Facebook and asked them to attend before that particular panel, whereas this particular Facebook denied that particular case. But now Supreme Court speaks in favor of the Delhi government, that it is your responsibility to go and attend before this particular committee, because it is more of a sensitive matter, it is a law and order matter, so it is mandatory that you must to go and attend them. Okay, that is number one. And number two, what the Supreme Court also says is this: now the Facebook simply cannot say that the content was shared by a third party, I'm not supposed to be there. Now the Supreme Court says you cannot just say that this is something which is completely on the people, you have to take certain kind of action, says Supreme Court. So that is another important news we also have in the Hindu, right? And then we have the next one is about where the High Court of Delhi asked the Twitter whether the interim officers which you are appointing, whom you are appointing, will they be able to follow the law? That is, will they be able to follow the IT rules or not? So that is something which has been asked by the High Court to the Twitter, stating that they must follow and abide by this particular rules, they say. So that is another news we have. Now, to encourage the vaccination in the northeastern states especially, and in Arunachal Pradesh in particular, now the Arunachal Pradesh has decided that they would allow the entry into the state only to the vaccinated people. A good decision, in fact, so that the vaccine hesitancy could be removed in the minds of the people. So that is another news we also have. Now we have another organization in the news called as Organization of Islamic Cooperation. So this Organization of Islamic Cooperation is one certain kind of organization which says that they are the second largest organization after the United Nations, in fact the intergovernmental body, and they are the ones who take care of the interest of the Muslims all over the world and protect them. But unfortunately, the problem that we have with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is this: they keep talking about Kashmir and all as what Pakistan says. Now, however, that the Ministry of External Affairs has cautioned them, stated very clearly, Organization of Islamic Cooperation has to be very careful about what are they saying, because some people could be misleading them, some people may have some vested interest, and that is something which could be leading to. So you need to be very careful on that particular case, says the Ministry of External Affairs too. And we have seen yesterday that the cabinet rejig has happened, cabinet reorganization has happened, and many new introductions have happened. Many people have been elevated to the cabinet rank. But what comes here is that the cabinet has met yesterday, and accordingly they have taken some key decisions, and of them the two important things are there. Number one is that they have brought up India COVID-19 emergency response and health system preparedness package phase 2. That is, a COVID phase 2 package has been brought up, where this package would be used especially for supporting the hospitals and other kind of cases, where a 23,000 crore plus package has been brought up for further developing the healthcare and further developing the healthcare institutions and all. So that is another one we have in the news, a very, very, very important one to go through. And next, there has been a rumor going on since very long, since the passage of farmer laws, that the APMC would be scrapped, isn't it? But now, to actually oppose that particular thing, now the government has the cabinet has decided that they would extend the agri infra fund loans to the APMCs. Whatever the APMCs that they have taken loans, they are further extending the loans so that they would get more chance to take more loans in this case. So which shows that the government is in favor of the APMCs. They want APMCs to be continued. So that is one kind of message that the government is giving through this particular case. So now let's not delay much and start our topic of the day, that is the Ministry of Cooperation. We know what happened in the recent past, right? The government has taken a decision in such a way that a Ministry of Cooperation, a new ministry would be created, and this ministry would be taking care of the cooperative sector. In fact, the cooperative sector which you're talking about, it is something which falls under the under the concurrent list. Like that of agriculture, it is also under the concurrent list. So which means both the state as well as centers could actually legislate on this particular matter. But now what happened? A Ministry of Cooperation has been created, and apart from the ministry has been created, that has been given to the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. And now the PIB stated that the Ministry of Cooperation is going to give a separate administrative perspective, a separate administrative machinery to the cooperative sector, which is still now under the Ministry of Agriculture. So the purpose is that we want to further strengthen the grassroots, the people-based movement, whatever is there in the grassroots, the economic development that is there in the grassroots, that needs to be strengthened. So for them, they say the Ministry of Cooperation is going to be a very important thing. But how is a grassroots linked into this? They also say that we would like to ensure that the ease of doing business has to be made much easier. But what exactly is this cooperative sector or cooperative movement is? For example, we see a lot of cooperatives in our day-to-day life. So a cooperative is nothing but a group of people come together and form as a group. Some people come together and form a group so that we all would have a collective bargaining power. Okay, that is the purpose of us in this particular grouping. So in the case of agriculture, if you talk about the cooperative dairies, the sugar mills, the spinning mills, all these have formed in such a way where the resources of the this particular farmers, all these would come together too. Right now, the country has 1,94,195 cooperative dairy societies especially, and 330 cooperative sugar mill operations. And it's not just this. The sector is so huge that this dairy sector alone has produced 4.80 crore liters of milk from 1.7 crore members, and they sold 3.7 crore liters of liquid milk per day. And the cooperative sugar mills, they account for 35% of the sugar produced in the country. In the case of giving some finances to the farmers also, so we have actually created the banking and finance sector too. For example, we have created the primary agriculture credit societies which have been formed by the farmer associations that ensures a good flow of money be gone to the people. And then we also have the district central cooperative banks also, which actually provides a lot of loans and all credit facilities too. But how much finances do these have? So the NABARD's annual report says that there are about 95,238 primarily agricultural credit societies, 363 DCCBs, 33 cooperative banks, and they have a huge amount which could go. They have a deposits worth up to 3,78,000 crores. You can understand the impact of this. So the DCCBs play a very important role in the farming sector also. In the urban areas, you also have urban cooperative banks which are doing and providing a huge amount of credit opportunities too. So according to the RBI again, the country has about 1,539 urban cooperative banks, where the capital of them is about 14,933.54 crores, and the entire loans was about 3,05,368 crores. So the impact that it could create, the cooperative banks could create, is really too much. When it comes to the governing, how you do it, as I told you already, that this falls under the concurrent list too, which means both the center as well as state could actually do something in this particular matter. And most of the cooperatives right now in the country are governed by the laws which are there in that particular states only, where there is a commissioner who is called Cooperation Commissioner, and there is a register of societies who will be looking after them. But later on, in 2002, the central government has come across with the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, and this particular act has made it very clear that if a particular cooperative sector wants to have a multi-state we could say presence, they could actually go for that. So mostly banks, dairies, sugar mills, they actually spread much further too. But the question is this: the sector is really booming, there's no doubt. The sector is really important too. But the question would be that, is it really necessary that we need a ministry like this? Now, some people, experts also says that it is very, very important that we have to restore the importance of this sector. Various institutions have actually stated that the cooperative structure has actually had a great influence in the economical development as well as on the political development also. For example, the cooperative institutions, they get capital from the center either as equity or a working capital, where the state governments will be giving a guarantee. And in this way, much funds have come to the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka. Whereas many states have failed to look into this, but this could be a game changer, they say. But at the same time, these cooperatives could also impact the political things also, be it the state and national politics. For example, they say, you can talk about, the current Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. He was actually heading Ahmedabad District Central Cooperative Bank. Apart from that, the 150 legislatures in Maharashtra, they have some connection with this. Even NCP Chief Sharad Pawar, or we could say even the current Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Ajit Pawar, all these have started with the cooperative elections only. So they say that this particular sector is really booming, and it also has such a kind of impact on this. So it's definitely important about the decision what the government has brought up in this particular matter. Okay, so that is the focus topic of the day. And before we go, guys, one thing, a very, very, very important announcement you have. Unacademy comes across with a subscription with a much, much, much better benefits for you all. Where if you are taking the Unacademy subscription with optional, for a limited time, you will be getting a discount of 45%. Ask me how. So if you're taking with optional, you'll get 25%. And this for 1 week, you will get additional 10%. And if you are using my referral code, you'll get additional 10%. A total of 45% of discount, which is not that simple. Okay, so for that, you just have to use a code which is highlighted here, so that you'll be able to get that particular discount too. It's Ajay Kumar 0692. You could use that particular code, and you'll also find that in the description. right? And apart from that, Unacademy offers you subscription till the mains of that particular year. And then, if you're taking a subscription of 2 years, and if you're unable to clear the exam of UPSC in that 2 years, you will get extension of 1 more year. And Academy will provide you free notes. You'll be getting the test series also, both for prelims as well as mains. And you also have the option of loan. Okay, so like you could say 50 prelims test would be there and 30 mains test would be there. Answers would be evaluated by the experts too. So that is all for the day. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you all again tomorrow at the same time. So that's all. Take care. Have a great day, and Jai Hind.